where do we start, guys?
Well, we've been friends for a very, very long time. I think we met through Dogs and Acid, though, didn't we?
Go
Yeah,
on.
maybe. Or through people through there. I don't know.
Yeah,
But it's been like 20, 25 years, I reckon.
yeah. It's a long friendship, and we came together through music and mutual friends. I'm sure it was via Dogs and Acid.
Probably.
And yeah, we're both realized quite early on that we're into quite niche heavy metal. So we're both
Uh,
from we're both from a heavy metal background. So we're sort of bonded from that really the start. And
so what
then
sort
over
of
the
heavy metal
years,
are we talking now? I'm immediately going to take us on some scenic route because I'm similar age to you guys,
yeah,
and also came from metal as well.
yeah.
So yeah, what type of metal though are we talking
So
here? Because I mean, it was
for
a
me,
fertile.
I was in a death metal band from 1988 onwards. And
Wow.
we were touring. I joined when I was 14. We were touring by the time I was 15. And I maybe put it in the words that I sent to you, Dave. And yeah, I went to my first rave in 1991, and I was still in the band, and we were on the verge of getting signed to Earache Records, with Napalm Death and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Morbid
yeah,
Angel.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, my life changed overnight. I heard Groove Rider, Stu Allen, Carl Cox, and Eddie Richards in one night. And literally the next day, I just cut my hair off. Well, not the next day, but like a couple of weeks later, cut my hair off, sold my Beta Rich Warlock and my Marshall stacks. And, that's what I've been focused on ever since.
The power of rave.
And
Tom, did you have a
Tom's similar.
similar kind of one? Did you have a similar one like that as
I,
well?
I wasn't about to be signed to Earache, but yeah, like I was into rock and roll. I'm into all sorts of music, but was always into like thrash with Metallica, Megadeth, that kind of stuff. Got into like much more extreme stuff, so a lot of death metal, speed metal, that kind of stuff. Like we both still love this stuff these days
Yeah.
as well, but I think like we both found that kind of hardcore sound early 90s. I'm a tiny bit younger, but not by much. And yeah, like never look back with that kind of style while still appreciating everything else as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we've started going to metal gigs again, like together, about like 8 years ago, going to like Underworld to see Destruction and and Sodom and all that sort of stuff. So
Brilliant.
yeah, it's
Brilliant.
great.
Wow, go on. Well, I think like that so many people come from metal anyway, really, and it's got that rock energy. And I'm going on a trip at the moment. My daughter's just discovered Metallica, so she's going through all of the albums methodically, and we're listening
Oh,
to them.
amazing,
But now I'm listening to
amazing.
them through her ears, and there's a lot of stuff that I didn't pick up on with their stuff back in the day because I was just too young and just didn't have the
Yeah,
musical vocabulary. And there's so many little elements and transitions, especially with Metallica where it's like
mm,
this is why I love drum and bass, those
yeah,
kind of the transitions and the militancy and the like, but funk as well,
yeah,
really ridiculously heavy dollops of funk. And I think that
mm,
extreme mindset goes over with more extreme music, like hardcore applies to punk just as much as rave, doesn't it? In that way,
yeah.
like hardcore is hardcore, like
Totally, totally. It's got the same energy. What do you think, Tom?
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, when I first got into this stuff, I was into like heavier styles, and you can see why coming from like that extreme background, there was always about the beats for me. So, and I'm like a massive fan of like death metal drummers with huge drum kits and double kicks and all that. And it's the same kind of thing, right? Like that's why amens are so important in my life and why the beats like hit so hard. There's massive crossover, even though the sounds like, I mean, they're not identical, but you can see why people love a bit of both.
yeah,
Totally. I mean, like the timbres and the energy is definitely there. It's just a different context. But I think raves are very similar to heavy metal gigs because, like, it's a common misconception that heavy metalers are like really moody and aggressive and that. But if you fall over in a mosh pit, I'm sure you've experienced this. They just
yeah.
pick you up and hook you in, like, and it's very much like in a rave, we're like where you're from, what you're on type of vibe, It's very, very.
Absolutely, definitely part of that culture. And it was something that people were missing out of when headbanging came into like kind of more extreme sounds of dubstep and stuff,
Yeah,
especially in America. there
Yeah,
it was lacking that camaraderie, that kind of, I
mm.
will say brotherhood, because the audiences were mainly men in the
Man,
audiences for
yeah.
heavy metal, because of the kind of extreme music seemed to attract more men. But I think also like it was a, yeah, let's say brother and sisterhood, because it didn't matter who
Mm.
you bashed into,
Mm.
you pick each other up. And when there was headbanging with like, kind of bass music and it was very crass, you didn't have that. Like when I think when bands call for a wall of death, then it's like, right, what type of audience am I dealing with here? Am I dealing with like people who are actually going to run into each other and hug each other and really embrace that impact, or are there idiots in there looking to fight? And you
Yeah, yeah.
like, it depends which type of crowd they are,
I'm not
really, I
doing the
think.
wall of death, man. That's not happening.
Have you seen that
Yeah.
Pantera video where they basically the bet ask the crowd to like separate and then they all run to each other and they basically all run at each other but they're all helping each other so they don't get like bust up from it, you know?
That's it.
Brilliant.
Yeah. That's exactly the spirit. So you guys connected over that, but it's taken you this long then to actually start a musical project together.
Yeah, I don't know why it took us that long actually, because I mean, it kind of came about from us living together. We shared a flat. I don't know, was it like 10 years ago? Don't know,
10 years
something
ago,
like
yeah.
that. And like Craig's been producing for years and has done that kind of constantly throughout his kind of adult life. And I got into it in the 90s and just kind of gave up for a long, long time, focused on career and I don't know, going to the pub. Um,
What you
and then
should mention though is Tom did have a garage career back in the 1990s.
kind of,
And you released some
Oh,
records.
yeah, pretty
Um,
rubbish ones, my ones.
are they
let us
still
be the
around
judge.
now? Would they be known?
So me and my friends ran a studio in, I don't know, like 97, 98. It was in Crystal Palace in South London, near where I'm from. The label was called All Good Records, which like some people would know if they were involved in the scene, but we basically got relatively big because we had a guy called Sovereign, who did a remix of Pink, like the pop artist Pink,
Yeah,
tune
yeah.
called There You Go. And that before that came out over here, it was like an import, and we got the a cappella, made like a massive garage version of it that sold. I think we sold like 10,000 copies of it or something through the label, just through the back of people's cars and all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
I released a couple of tunes on the label,
Oh,
and they were absolutely terrible. But like we had this little thing going on that had, I don't know, like 7 releases maybe. It did well, that there was like it's back when you could sell actual units and make a bit of profit
yeah,
off records. It's wild to think how many records we sold back then.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like in the
yeah.
90s, you could blink and just put it out, and you could put a pump on a record, and it would sell at least 3,000 copies.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Like you,
That's mad, isn't it? I think I might have had that. That was from Pink's first album, wasn't it? It was like when she was kind of that late 90s sassy R&B
yeah,
kind of
exactly.
version
I
of
think it
Pink.
was her first single that blew up over here, and it had airplay or
Yes.
whatever, and somehow someone got the import, and I don't know, like I forget the story, but yeah, I think the garage version with garage being massive, like 97, 98, 99, I guess, like
Mm.
Great
it kind
time
of
for
made it
garage.
spurred the tune on a bit, and so like they found out about it and didn't take us to court, which is nice. And the tune got put on a single and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, it was good. It was good exposure for label. It made Sovereign like get a bit of a name, and he's still making beats to this day, I think.
Mm.
Oh, go on, that's wicked. So you've dabbled, but life has taken you in other directions. But now, and I think it's always nice to see people come into music production at a different stage in life, because you're drawing from a completely different palette, completely different range of life experiences. And unlike other people who might be your age, who've been doing this since their 20s, you're not
Mm.
quite as jaded. Because you've had other aspects of life and you haven't been through the music industry, and kind of found, like, Craig, you found loads of ways to diversify and keep music in your life as a full-time
Yeah.
job, but in
Hmm.
creative ways. A
Hmm.
lot of people who are making music haven't been able to, kind of diversify like that, and they feel like they're on that treadmill by this
Yeah.
stage in their life. But if you're coming into it a bit later, and it's almost like this been bottling up inside you for so long in that way,
Mm.
and it feels like that, you've got like a whole other label as Haste with Twilight. Like, you've been doing a label for quite some time on that way. So it sounds like when you got into it as a producer, correct me if I'm wrong, you were out like a rat up a drain pipe type of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's thanks to Craig, really. Like I was saying, when we lived together, like he had a studio in this little flat in Brixton, and that was like his bedroom next door to me. Had like I forget what he had, but all this outboard kit and was making tunes in there. It just
Mm.
kind of reminded me how much fun it was. Like I hadn't done it for so long, like 10 plus years, and just got back into it from that. And he has been like giving me hints and tips, and
Well,
getting
but,
me
but
back into it.
we sat down and we looked at like current techniques, and I showed you like what's the sort of current processes for breaks and stuff like that, and then all power to you, you just fully ran with it, and it was all through I remember because we're in New York for our mate's 40th birthday, and you were like, I'm thinking about starting a label, and I was like, do it, 100%. It'll work really well, and it has. Because you've really focused on vinyl, you've really focused on your love of vinyl. Hence, you can see all the records behind Tom because he's pretty obsessed about vinyl.
So are you one of those people who I mentioned in the email who, if it's a record label, you actually have to sell vinyl. And if it's not, then you're just a digital music platform type of thing. So
I,
there are
I
some
don't know if
people
we
who are very
both would be
militant.
that harsh about it, but like certainly for us with this nation thing, like we had the chance to sign some stuff to other labels that we really respected and like modern producers whose music we love.
Mm,
Um, but I think after a bit that wasn't really going anywhere. And we sat down and were like, really for us being like vinyl heads and like music fans first and foremost, like having it on vinyl is a thing we want to aim for. So we're like, well, we can control it all. We can like if it goes well, we can control that. If it doesn't go well, we've only got ourselves to blame. And we get to put it on wax, which for me
mm.
definitely like I wouldn't say that if I put out a digital release, it doesn't mean it's not proper, but it's always nice to have something you can hold.
And I think the whole
Yeah.
ethos of Nation as well is like we're making retro sound, but with modern production and modern techniques. And we're making sounds that for us, when it's on vinyl, it feels a lot more authentic in the way that the format that it's been delivered on. And we're not shying away from the digital side. We've got like a digital distribution through Label Works and all that. But it was always going to be the focus was going to be on vinyl for us and the artwork as well. And Tom's done an amazing job with the sort of incorporating what we were just saying earlier. The logo behind it is about our love of death metal and metal in general, but the darker aesthetics and playing that as part of the brand that we're trying to build, I hate saying that word brand, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's something more than just a label, I think, really, in that type of way. This is like a whole collection of kind of ideas and shared
Mm,
inspirations
mm,
and
mm,
things. And
mm.
that's where I guess the word brand does kind of, fits. It's a good umbrella for all of
Yes.
that, really. It's just been commodified and just shitified like every other
Mm.
word has, really, by
Yeah.
awful corporate tactics.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. So but for you guys, so for Nation, vinyl was really, really important. Then when you actually kind of sat down to do this, and it seems like you're creating your own musical universe here in that type of way by having it on your own label and
But
everything and managing it.
honestly, we're just putting together things that we like. That's all it is, really. Like we like jungle, we like hardcore, we like vinyl, we like metal, we like, thinking about art, we like doing this kind of stuff. So it's a hobby as much as anything, but it'd be great if people buy it. The reactions have been good from people. So
Really great from everyone, and it's really like we're doing it just to make each other happy. Really, it's like if I send the idea to Tom, he's like, yeah, and then like a day later, he's like sent it back with like kind of finished, and I'm like, how are you doing this with being married with two kids? Like, how do you find time to do this? But yeah, that's the pleasure in it all. It's like it really is a pleasure making music with one of your best friends, and creating a vision together, and then releasing it, and putting that on vinyl, which is what we love.
Yeah, that's brilliant. What comes now in terms of, the next few releases. And I'm guessing this is the other moment this is Nation, you're not A&R in or anything, or this is just a label for you guys at the moment, really, isn't it?
Yeah, we've finished so much music. We've been over the past year and a bit. We've wrote like lots and but over an album's worth of stuff. So
Wow.
that'll start trickling out. Tom, I've just started mixing down again, Nation 2. So today, so I was going to tell you, but yeah. So
awesome.
we've got the next three planned, have we?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we're close to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be our label to start off with. I don't know if there's any plans to. Is it?
No, I guess we might do some collabs with people probably. I mean, we know
Mm.
so many people like who are connected with jungle and hardcore and all that that's probably a good idea. But those are hard to arrange. But no, I
Mm.
think like Nation feels like a thing that we'll just do ourselves.
Mm.
Just because the brand is us and like the label's us, so
Mm.
having other people on there right now doesn't feel like it really fits. Whereas Twilight
Mm.
might expand to be other people as well. It just kind of depends if people keep on buying it, I'll put more music out on that.
Brilliant. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more Nation stuff and more Twilight stuff as well. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Nice. Thanks for having
Awesome.
us on.
Nice one, Tom. Nice one, Craig. And nice one to anybody who's been watching. This has been One More Thing.
One more thing.